This is very exciting. I mean, we already like you, but you just said you love space. Kenny and I are such nerds. How do you feel about the mothership?
Just waiting till, what's the ETA?
Just wait. Actually, Kenny asked me an awesome question yesterday. I'm going to ask you. If the mothership was parked in your driveway, it was here. We're going to call her she. She was here. What are you going to do? What are you going to do with your last few days?
I would text or I'd send postcards, because being on the road with my family, they're so used to me just like, oh, I'm going away. Bye. Right. Here's a postcard. And then I would be like, all right, where are we going?
Right. Oh my gosh. You're on the mothership. They think you're just staying at a hotel. Hey everybody, today on Travel Nerds, we have Stephanie Ledger. She's a female entrepreneur, certified mystery shopper, and founder of a hospitality evaluations company, First Rate Hospitality. Hi Stephanie, happy to have you here.
Thank you. I'm excited to be on the podcast. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Absolutely. So just to start off for everyone else, I saw an MSN article with Stephanie's face on it. And the heading was, I make 6 figures as an undercover guest who helps resorts with bad reviews improve their game. Here's what I look for and how I stay incognito. Amazing. Really, really good hook right there. It's everyone's dream to be a spy. So basically you get hired by hotel executives to give a report on how they can better their property.
Exactly. So yes, so I do exist because I was doing some spying on the comments for the different outlets that picked it up. And it was funny. They're like, oh, she probably just had her friend post her photos. So you can see I do look as the photos that are in the article. But yes, the hoteliers, they will hire us then to being able to go in undercover and experience the property as a regular guest would, and then report back on how their experience was.
That's so cool. I saw an awesome picture of you in the article with a wig on. Like, do you go full disguise spy mode when reviewing these properties?
Absolutely. Because it'll be maybe a property that I go to often. And so now they're starting to catch on. Obviously, when you hear me speak, I have a very unique voice. So then they're like, wait, I've heard that before. And other times, too, it'll be, oh, wow, I've been going to this restaurant often. Let me try to change it up and change my look to seeing if the service change as well, just based upon perception of what the guest looks like.
That is sad but true right there, I bet.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Do you ever go full character, meaning like, I'm just going to be a nightmare today? Like, do you ever
Oh yes. I'm really come up with like some crazy stories. I mean, one time I was actually traveling in Hong Kong by myself and having to be testing the lobby lounge area for a drink before I would go to dinner. And it was very off because here I am by myself and saying, oh yeah, I just came all the way from the United States to, have a drink in the lobby. Like, what would you say? So I made up this whole story that I am a representative for culinary and came to the hotel to kind of do some recruitment. And so I can't stay at that property. I need to stay at another property, and that's why I'm here at this property. And then I just go with like, this is the persona of who I am for that entire stay.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like so much fun. I feel like I would thrive in this environment. I'm going to go into this restaurant and just be the worst. That's really funny. That's very cool though. That's a really cool job. So I know that I read in the article that you maybe not started in the hospitality space, but you became a mystery shopper for Forbes Travel Guide. And that's kind of what led into this.
Yes, absolutely. So I've always been in luxury hotels, working in the operations. So like front desk, housekeeping, sales. So always, know how to be the operator in hotels. And then when we're, working in hotels, we always are like, wow, it'd be awesome to have a job where you could go around and audit hotels, stay in the best hotels around the world. And I was that person that was like, yeah, that would be awesome. I'm going to reach out to them and see if they'll hire me. And that's
No way.
then I got started working with them.
Oh my gosh, that's a good way to ask for what you want and see what happens, because sometimes it'll surprise you.
Exactly. I mean, same thing with the article. I always, see those hooks of those articles of, clicking and then being like, let me reach out to them. My friends always say that I have an interesting company and, they should write an article about me. And then that's how I got plastered all over the internet.
Hey.
For the job.
I saw it. I clicked it. That's amazing.
Writing for Forbes, did you ever have any pressure to be negative about a hotel? And I ask this because Forbes is notorious now for doing teardown pieces. So I just clicked onto a piece, private women's membership group chief is being called out for white feminism. And so Forbes over time has been kind of notorious for doing these like takedown pieces of especially women in business. Have you ever been pressured to write a negative headline by Forbes?
Yeah. So Forbes Travel Guide is just a section of Forbes. But on the hospitality side, it was really the pressure of writing exactly what you're seeing, no matter if it was good or bad. And here, I'm coming from the hospitality industry and entering in and writing these reports. And I'm like, wow, if I write this and the hotel sees the report, I know this employee is going to be losing their job or getting a coaching and counseling, like there's going to be repercussions. But if I don't say anything, who's not to say that it gets worse or it now turns into a bigger situation? For example, there was one time I was in Las Vegas and I was testing the pool area, and the fire alarm started to go off. And the employee was saying to another employee, great, now we can be able to go home. All these guests are going to have to leave. And of course, I picked that up. So you're not supposed to say that in front of the guests, even though it's, we're all thinking about that, like, oh, great, calm down, like the calmness now is going to happen. So, when we're having to show, oh, yes, the employee can speak in complete sentences. And I go, yes, for example, this is what the employee said. And then went into saying of, yes, we're able to go home. So yeah, getting to your question, Kenny, is, sometimes you kind of have that moment of being like, oh, is this something that we should put in the report? But I go into it of being like, that's why they're hiring us at First Rate Hospitality or any mystery shoppers, because they want to be able to know this isn't just something just to saying, okay, great, we did it, and now we can move on.
Totally. I've stayed at amazing hotels with not great staff, didn't love it. Horrible hotels with great staff, loved it. the people in the hospitality industry make or break your experience for sure.
Absolutely.
So just to start at the beginning, in case nobody knows what a mystery shopper is, which I think we gave it away with the wig. What is it? What is a mystery shopper?
So we've all seen that show, Undercover Boss, where you're going in, basically how operations should be running, but now you're going in there and kind of playing dumb in a way and testing these certain scenarios of wearing a wig, looking undercover. So you're just kind of blending with everyone else. And then here you are, you're having, a variety of questions now to be testing the staff and then writing about it, taking photos, even like dropping a piece of trash to seeing how long until someone picks it up. And, but the main point is now to staying undercover instead of just saying, here, I'm at the hotel and I'm going to now test your department. Of course, then all the employees are going to be on the, top of their game, but it's really to get that snapshot of a guest experience and seeing what the guests are experiencing and how they can elevate it, or what they're, doing great. So now they can move on to something else with training.
How could someone become a mystery shopper if they were interested?
Yeah, so, for First Rate Hospitality, we excel because of our experience of working in the hotel. So we have that experience of knowing what, a server has to go through, even if it's very busy, but how are they making sure that the guest is feeling comfortable, or the front desk checking into Las Vegas and you have 30 people in front of you, but they're still acknowledging you with that eye contact and all of that. So experience definitely helps. But there are other companies that are out there. Like, I would have to say one of the major ones is Coyle, Coyle. And they have it where you can be able to sign up. You show what area, or if you're traveling to another area, and they'll have, some hotels, restaurants, gas stations, a variety of different entities. And I'd say it's great to being able to start there, to then making sure your writing is the way that it needs to be, to write the reports. And then also too of getting into the flow of how you stay undercover. Because then you're like, oh, I asked this question like word for word. And that's when the employee is going to be like, that sounds like a mystery shopper.
Oh my gosh. I would have one gin martini and just be like, my name is not Anastasia. This wig is itchy. That would be a mess. And I loved, like I said, the amazing hook with that article title. I make six figures as an undercover guest. Please. Interested immediately. Yeah. How do you make six figures in the hotel evaluation biz? Because I'm sure it doesn't start like that.
No. I mean, well, first off, it's great with, there's not really much overhead cost, so I really can be able to handle a lot of what goes into running the company. And then also, too, when it comes to all of the traveling, the food and beverage, the hotel stay, the client's covering all of those costs. So that's, really how it's, the charging is really based upon the time of the person going and doing it, and then pretty much everything's covered. So that's why also too with, starting off with doing like local restaurants, because now you're able, you may only be making like $20 or $30 from the report, but you may have just now had like a $300 meal for free. And, and then building upon there.
What is I'll ask, what is the first thing that you look for when evaluating hotels? Like when you walk in, is it an instant, I have to assess the lobby, I have to assess the staff? Where does it start?
So it starts pre-arrival. So I do a little bit of digging like on TripAdvisor, because this is where the client is also too, where they want to see, is it consistently, we're seeing the TripAdvisor talking about hair in the bathroom or cleanliness in the guest room. And and all the times too, there's guests, and we've done it before, is we see, all the guests are complaining about this. I'll say it's this so I can make sure I get my $50 credit. And so with doing a little bit of research, then going in and seeing, okay, there's, it's more about cleanliness, or it's more about staff attitude, or timeliness of service, or a little bit of everything. So I kind of am gauging with that, knowing to look, but then also to, even the sense of arrival could be great. It's, front desk all cheery, and then I get to the room, and then that's really where I can feel like, okay, things are going to be well, or things are not going to be well, because front desk, it's all about that warm welcome where they're pretty much good overall. But then it's like, okay, now we've taken your credit card and then the rest of it's not consistent with how grand your front desk experience was. And so then that's really when I can be like, okay. And then there's been times too where then I've gone into the guest room and everything's spotless. You know, I'm checking the like top of the TV. Is there any dust there? And there's none. And I'm like, oh, they've already spotted me ahead of time, and I'm like now trying to see.
It's only clean because they know I'm here.
Yeah, but then I go to like the restaurant or the pool or the beach, and then I'm like, oh yeah, it just happens to be that they really are a luxurious property that, you know, has their things together.
Right, and I like what you said about having your writing under control when making the report. Like from an outsider perspective, I'm like, oh my God, she gets to go to these amazing hotels and lay by the pool and like eat an amazing meal. But yeah, you do have to be able to like properly report back and explain what happened, probably in massive detail, I'd imagine.
Oh yeah, exactly. And yeah, you're using a lot of like descriptive words. So if a question was saying, you know, was the employee wearing the proper uniform? So you can't just say yes or no. You have to now be able to describe what that employee was wearing, because you don't know if that's the proper uniform. You just assume it is. But you can say, oh yeah, they're wearing a white polo shirt and cargo shorts, but no name tag. And so now you're describing what you're seeing, and then it'll be like, well, name tags is actually part of our property's uniform.
True. Is it a case-by-case basis, meaning like these executives will give you exactly what to look for, or is it more like a general evaluation that you do everywhere?
So with other companies, they're doing more of a general synopsis and saying, okay, these are our questions that we typically ask. We're at First Rate Hospitality. We're providing a customized report and a customized questions and departments and experiences that the client is looking for. So if we happen to be going to, say, a resort next to Disney, they don't want to seeing, you know, an older couple. They want to be able to seeing how is the staff reacting more to a family. So, you know, between having those conversations with the executives and seeing what type of scenario, what type of testing they want to be done, then we customize that.
That would be so funny. They're like, okay, Stephanie, we need you to have 5 fake kids. 5 fake kids and a husband. Do you have any fake kids on call just in case?
Oh, yeah. Well, and then also, too, and then it's the ages. Because then it's like, okay, well, you know, are they looking more for the younger children? They're going to be more by like the kiddie pool, or are they looking more of like the teenagers because they have, you know, a lot of like teen activities and they're looking to seeing that experience. So yeah, it's fun. I mean, my friends love it because I'll be like going down my like roster and saying, okay, this is a scenario. Are you available?
I'm sure an angsty teen would give an insanely negative hotel review.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like, I can only imagine.
Exactly.
When did you start your company? Was this a couple years ago?
Yeah, so we're now, next month, we'll be entering into our 6th year. So we started in 2017. So, you know, it's been definitely, yes, we're so excited. And especially, too, with all of, you know, now like the article and everything that's coming out, and it's really growing the company. But, you know, it wasn't all rainbows and butterflies and sipping cocktails around the pool and the beach. But, you know, we had to go through the pandemic when people weren't traveling, hotels weren't opened. So it's definitely been some highs and lows. But right now we're on a really good high, which is amazing.
What'd you do during the pandemic?
So very fortunate that being based here in Miami, because we were one of the first markets to reopen and had a lot of guests that were coming down here. So it just kind of worked out with the timeliness of, when hotels were closed. It was a way for us to then being able to reassess and seeing how we can do like online training, how we can support with recruitment, and kind of just taking it day by day of what the clients were needing, where it wasn't necessary saying a mystery shop, but it's really like, okay, we need some training because we're having employees that, have never worked in the hotel, or, they've used to work for one brand and now this is their first time working for another brand. But it really helped being here in Florida during that time period where like it was just last summer that I was working with clients up north and it was their first season to really have like a full open season where I was like, oh man, we've been already like, this is our third, winter time of going through everything.
We're so lucky.
You mentioned a few different services. So do you offer more than just mystery shopping?
Yep. So we're a full consulting firm. So whether the guest is looking for mystery shopping, whether they're looking for training on service, whether it be like technical of, okay, this is how you check in a guest, or this is how you operate in housekeeping, or this is how's the right way to being able to anticipate the guest needs, like on a luxury level and engaging with the guest. So we provide that training. And then also too of just creating onboarding checklists, SOPs, really what the clients are looking for and being that extension for them instead of saying, oh, now I have to hire a full-time person, or I, only need someone just to help for this one item, but my managers are running around, craziness that I can't now put this on top of everything else that they need to do. And, and it's helped too, because I've been around the industry for so long that, a lot of it is all referrals. Like there's barely any marketing, which I've been very fortunate about. It's like calling the bat line and then being like, hey, I have a connection over at this hotel. They're needing this. Could you be able to see if you can be able to provide services for them?
So services, what's the most common service requested?
I would have to say it's still training. Okay. It's starting to be the more and more of the mystery shopping because the accolades are getting back out there. So before the accolades were, okay, we're only going to test, this or this, and accolades meaning like Forbes Travel Guide for star ratings, or AAA for diamond ratings, or Condé Nast, all of those different publications that give out awards. They were kind of still testing, but they weren't like full in on the testing. So
got it.
Yeah. So now they're like, oh no, Forbes or AAA's coming, and then we'll do like. That's why it's called First Rate Hospitality. So we come in and we rate first, so we can work out all those kinks before those accolades come in. And also, too, first rate just meaning the best of the best.
Of course. That's awesome. I know we mentioned the pandemic. Do you see things trending differently for hotels, obviously post-COVID and 6 years you've had the business? Like, what is the difference in what you're searching for?
Yeah, so now it's also implementing a lot of technology, so we all still want that human touch, in hospitality and having like a face-to-face conversation. But there's times when you're just like, I'm just here checking in, to have a place to sleep and store my bags before I go, on my next adventure in the morning, that I don't need all that hoopla. And I, feel like being a tech savvy person that I can just, go to a kiosk. But even testing the kiosk.
I would prefer that.
But now how many times have you even went with technology and it not working, the Wi-Fi not down, it's so slow, it's not the right way that you reserved or any of those things. And so that's, what we're seeing now on the testing side is, yes, there's still, how the guest interactions are, but also to now how the properties are adapting to technology. And even for restaurants with the menu selection and, being able to pay and do everything right there, on a tablet.
Yeah.
I have a question. So I want to give you a hypothetical. Say that I run a hotel. It's a JW Marriott. It's pretty nice. And I read about your article in Forbes. I think it's pretty cool. And I hear you charge $20,000 and I call you up and I'm like, hey, what's the ROI on this? I think I want this, but I'm not sure what I get out of it. Is it going to make me more money? Is it just something that I need to do to show my bosses? What's your sales pitch on what does the hotel owner get out of it for what you charge?
All right. Well, I'm not giving you all the secrets away on this.
Well, there's a lot of hoteliers that listen to this. So we have a lot of hotel owners. So you're talking to me, the owner of the JW, but what you're really talking to is probably like 200, 300 people that own hotel brands. So
yes.
Yeah.
So it is, yes, it is on the return on investment, especially with the guest surveys. That's a huge part of it. And then also, too, is with your retention for your staff recruitment. Because, being able, and that's something too, when we're giving out the reports, when we're doing the training, this is building the employee engagement as well. And especially too with, we're still having struggles with staffing or employees are,
big issue, right? The staffing and employee retention at hotels. The front desk is really thin. The group sales is really thin. So it's not just the guest experience. You're really thinking about the employee experience as well.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah. Cause even say we talk about, the restaurant on, we do a mystery shop for them and, timeliness of service is a huge issue. And we see, as the guest and my background being working in restaurants is seeing, wow, their service station is far away or their service station doesn't have everything that they need to making that timeliness of service better and being able to give those recommendations of how they can elevate the guest experience, but also too what makes it easier for the employee too. So they're, not being like, oh, wow, now this is more work.
So really, yeah, because hiring employees is expensive. So just if it were just like, hey, we're going to come in and give you an honest third party opinion about, say your average employee lasts for 18 months and then you have to turn around and hire someone new. And every time you hire someone new, it costs a few $1,000s, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're saying like, we're going to take, through my service, we're going to increase your average, churn for an employee from 18 months to 36 months. And that means over the course of a year or 2 years, you're going to save, $26,000. That's actually like it's a pretty cool way to phrase it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's customized based upon what the client's looking for, on that sales pitch side, knowing the market because, look at how different, say, the Miami market is to Austin, Texas, or even to New York City, with what, we're in the fullest of our tourism time right now. So it is about, getting that guest money and making more money and raising the survey scores, where New York right now, is still struggling, with staffing and recruitment and that retention. And so, it's all based on knowing the market and what the client is looking for and getting that return from the investment.
All right. No BS. Nicest hotel you stayed at. Go. For free. The nicest place you've been put at for free. Don't filter it. Tell me the honest
Stephanie.
truth.
I have to say the Ocean House, which is in Rhode Island. It's a very luxury property. It's actually more of a boutique property, but it really was an amazing experience to go there during the it was right in the beginning of summer to really experience like a New England summer. And they were, always on like top of the list on awards.
Oh, this is nice.
This is so cool.
I saw what a good recommendation. My eyes are lighting up. I was like, such a good recommendation, Stephanie. Thank you for this.
When you said Rhode Island, I was like, really? And now looking at this, I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God.
Oh my God, this lobster roll. I'm cutting you off this term. I'm drooling from this lobster roll.
For those of you that can't see.
The lobster roll.
Because it really hits all of the areas. It's not just like the physical features, but it's the service. The service really, and that's what luxury is, and what we do with the training is luxury is you're doing it for the guest and you're not giving the guest the job. And so here it just really felt like you're just floating from, the different areas of the property because the guests or the employees were just so nice. They were anticipating your needs. The product of the property was top notch. That it just was that overall experience. And then, there's another one that came to mind, but like the spa.
Yeah, give us number 2. Oh, I was going to say this first one was such a hit. Give me number 2 and 3. Just 30 seconds for each.
Yeah. Well, I would have to say for spa, it was definitely over in the Mandarin Oriental over in Hong Kong. So, I mean, just the same thing. You're just floating through the whole experience. And, it's a tough job, but someone has to, test the spa area.
Somebody's got to do it. I went to the Mandarin Oriental on Central Park in New York. Oh. And I went to the spa there. Me, little 25-year-old me, bought herself a $350 facial at the spa. I was like, first of all, who do I think I am? But worth every penny because of the experience. Like the woman who did my facial was like from Sweden with this awesome accent. She was talking about how she's been interested in holistic healthcare. Like they choose these people to make you feel like you're having this experience. Like she was
for
wonderful.
$350, I want a new face. I'm talking about like, don't give me a facial. I want the whole new face.
Insane when it was over. My whole face was like swollen. She was like sticking needles in my face. I was like, I don't even know what I bought. I was just like, whatever all the hot girls get here, that's what I want.
Yes, yeah. And just the amenities like, the sauna and the steam room and the cold plunge and the robes and the snacks that you get as part of the whole experience.
All right,
they
number
have like
3.
a tea there that I still make, like a Mandarin tea. I don't know what it is, but she like gave me the recipe and I still make it.
Exactly.
That's good service.
Yeah. And it's memorable. That's the thing too. That is, top notch is making it memorable for a positive way, not memorable of being like, oh, that was the worst. But I would also for restaurant, I would have to say, Daniel in New York City. It was one of my first experiences of a luxury restaurant experience. And I really felt like I was just watching a play because of how the servers were just like moving around and then how they're, presenting the plate and doing all the table side with sauces and serving. It was just, it's definitely one of my top restaurant experiences.
They have a sick marketing team. I just looked this up on Google. This is how they describe themselves. Daniel Boulod's elegant French flagship where jackets are required and expense accounts come handy.
Oh,
that's bougie.
Shit.
Yeah.
Like, don't even come here.
Is that a word or is that the second half of the title?
No, that's his last name. I just screwed up his last name. But jackets are required. Expense accounts come handy. They're saying, don't even come there. If you are trying to pay with your own personal Amex, that's not good. We need the expense account.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that.
Yes. Yeah.
What's a dinner run at Daniel?
I think it's about $250 to $350. It could run up to about $500 if you're doing the wine tasting.
$250, $300?
Yeah.
That's not expense account. That's not expense account, really. I was thinking that we were going like French Laundry, $600-700.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it definitely will get you up there in the check. Definitely, for sure.
What'd you think of French Laundry? I heard some controversial takes on this, that someone's like, if you like salt and pepper and you just want to eat salt and pepper, do French Laundry. But is that way off base?
Well, I have to say that I had the opportunity to live in Yountville, so I was really close with the restaurant. So I'm a little bit biased of the French Laundry, but it's to each his own palate. I mean, even when it comes into that luxury restaurant, that higher end experience, everyone's like, oh, the portions don't match the amount, and everyone's a critic, really. It's it's not for everyone.
You know that by reading the comments on anything. If you like salt and pepper, this is where you should eat, and it's $700 a meal. People suck.
Yeah.
That's so cool, though. You'd walk in there, and they're like, what's up, Stephanie? Like, it was that. Oh, my God. You are so cool. We're so going to New York sometime. That's amazing.
I love it. Yes.
Okay, last recommendation request, because I am going to Miami in like 3 weeks and I'm going with my girlfriends. Where should we eat? Do you have any like top spot for her birthday?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's all about ambiance. I'm going to be honest with Miami is, if you're coming for like a Daniel experience, you may get that salt and pepper French Laundry experience. It's really about, the music, the vibe, and also, too, it's not all about now Miami Beach. Brickell area has really blown up. And there's so many spots now to just being able to walk around. So I really would have to say Brickell. It's also, too, the area where I live. So I can definitely be your tour guide.
Yes, I'm actually totally biased. I feel like that part of town, it has been on the up and up for like the past 5-10 years anyway. And Miami Beach has always been cool. I feel like I get overwhelmed when I'm in South Beach, but I think like Coral Gables and Brickell is like actually really cool.
Yeah, and they're having more like rooftop openings, so it's like seeing the view, which is crazy. Is that we have a skyline, and then also too of just the walkability. So it's like, okay, it's not just here we're taking the Uber or driving here, and this is where we're going to be for the night. It's like, no, this is where we're going to start, and then this is how we're going to progress through the evening or even during the day too.
Kenny, what are we doing here? You want to just like drive to Miami and hang out with Stephanie? What are we doing here?
Let's go.
Yeah, but I do have one recommendation as well. Going to give a little bit of a plug here, but also is the hotel pools. So Resort Pass, is a great company where they work with the hotels. This is like a little tidbit. And now you're able to, go to the hotels without having to stay there, and you can do like a day pass, being able to using their pool and beach amenities. So even though you may be staying in, say, one part of town, and now you want to spend the whole day in like Brickell, you could be able to go to like the SLS pool and spend the day there just on using Resort Pass.
Without sneaking in illegally and potentially getting kicked out. Arrest.
Exactly.
That's funny. That is a good pro tip. Resort Pass. I'm going to look into that.
Yes.
I want to get back really quick to your company. So you told me yesterday that it's expanding past the hospitality space into other professional industries like law firms and things like that. What does transitioning to other types of evaluations look like versus hotels?
Yeah, I mean, some of it's really just like the verbiage. So instead of saying guests, client or customer, but there's still, if you're a law firm and having your reception area to your office, or even who's answering your telephone inquiries, it's still the same as if we were testing, saying reservations or front desk, and standards that are upheld no matter what the industry is. And so that's what's, kind of cool now, is being able to expand into these other industries like finance with banking and law firms, and even doctors' offices too, where they're trying to provide this a luxury environment. So, to make repeat customers and, beat out their competition of saying that doctor's office that's right across the street.
So it's the same concept. Like, you're a fake client. You're like, hi, my name's Veronica Mars. I've been wrongly accused of robbing a bank. And then you go through the whole process of becoming a client.
Yes.
So
and it's even
no, you do have to rob the bank. You have to I mean, Stephanie's, she's living in the role. I heard that she's robbed a few banks. She's stick them up. I'm doing research.
Yes, exactly. And then I just hand the policeman, here's my get out of jail card.
Her disguise. Oh my God. Instead of this time, it's not a wig, it's a ski mask.
Listen, if you can pull off this service, Connor and I have been talking about robbing a bank for at least the last 7 minutes. So we would love to join, and we would work for free for the thrill of it.
We've mentioned it on so many podcast episodes now, actually, that if a bank does get robbed within a 10-mile radius, they're gonna call us.
Yeah, they're gonna call us. Yeah, I kind of want to live in Westworld. If you've ever seen the show on HBO, it'd be kind of cool.
Oh my God, that'd be the most hectic, stressful life. That's so funny.
Yeah. It is being undercover. It's very stressful because you got to make sure you're keeping your story straight, how you're going to be undercover. You're not trying to tip off the employees, or, saying too much or saying too little. And then also to being like, why is this guest, not leaving her room because, typing everything up, or not leaving the property when it's like a huge resort or in an area that's a very tourist area where people are going out for the day and doing tours and things and sightseeing. And I'm like, nope, just here.
That's me at a hotel though. I burrow. So wait, do you have a favorite disguise? Do you have what's your proudest moment incognito?
I would have to, I love my wig, my little short brown bob, but now I have to change it up because now it's been plastered everywhere. But then also too, I like getting just dressed up, looking like the Real Housewives.
Oh yeah.
To the nines, and, really experiencing it of this is what the rich and the famous do.
That's very Miami appropriate too. No one would think anything of it. No one would think this girl's overdressed.
Yes.
In Orlando.
Exactly.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
What are your pro travel tips for the audience?
I would have to say what I carry or on my suitcase is an extension cord. For when I'm ready to rob the bank. But really, hotels are really adapting.
Yeah, it's like the Wonder Woman thing. You just whip it up and then you knock some people out. Yeah, lasso. Who needs a weapon? Weapon, you'll go to jail for longer. So if she has an extension cord, say that she does get caught. Stephanie never would, but she just lassos a little extension cord. She could be deadly with that thing.
You tie up a hostage with an iPhone cable.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Put your hands over your head or behind your back, and you just got a little USB-C. You're just wrapping them.
Oh, they're so funny.
Yeah,
they can undo it. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's our first robbery. Sorry.
So the extension cord, I mean, hotels are more adapting when you're in the guest room, but how many times you've checked in and you can't plug in your laptop or your cell phone charger right by your bed? You're either wanting to just, catch up on things before sleeping, or you're just one of those that's like addicted to having your phone right next to you. And so, with the extension cord, it's definitely a pro tip of mine. And I would also too, it's weird enough, but I travel with Ziploc bags because how many
for
times
the body parts, right?
Yeah. And then I just mix that in for TSA, with some other things. Hopefully it doesn't show up.
TSA is not catching nothing these days. We brought so much
brushes
crazy
in
stuff.
there to cover it up.
Yeah. But there'll be times where it'll be like, oh, I had to, go and test the pool right before checkout. And so my bathing suit's not going to be able to dry. And so this way I'm able, to use it for the bathing suit or an umbrella or just some like random crap that somehow I've collected along the way that, now I'm able to kind of store it separately and then not ruining my suitcases. I'm trying to think of like, resort pass, really looking, there's a lot now. And I'm sure, people have been talking about on your guys' podcast with, these different companies that, that are coming out with ways like Turo of renting your car. So you're not, because, car rentals are so expensive. And it's really just
Turo.
Trying to, yeah.
I've never had a bad
really
experience. It's so simple and I love it. This is not a plug. Yes, it is. I love it.
But sometimes you're in the middle, like I'll be in like Oklahoma, like the middle of just somewhere where, it's actually easier to go through Turo than it is to then go all the way back to the airport to rent a car.
Yeah, those are great tips. Totally agree with you on that one. Okay, you're on Travel Nerds, so I got to ask you the question. What are you a nerd about?
Space. So I have to
space.
Let's talk mothership. Let's talk aliens. Let's talk space.
Yeah. And it's, even with travel. So David Grutman, really huge here, restaurateur in the club scene, and here in Miami. And so he has been awarded of creating like the little it's the balloon that's going up into space to be able to have a guest experience and seeing the curve of the Earth. And so, even in high school, I was like, I will be the one that will run a hotel in space because I love space. And being in Florida and Cape Canaveral, I'm always the one that's like, okay, what time is, the space shuttle launching or SpaceX?
Launch. Yes.
Yes. So yes, I'm a nerd with space, and now seeing hospitality becoming actually going to happen in space. It's like the worlds are colliding.
Oh my gosh. So this is very exciting. I mean, we already like you, but you just said you love space. Kenny and I are such nerds. How do you feel about the mothership?
Just waiting till, what's the ETA?
Just wait. Actually, Kenny asked me an awesome question yesterday. I'm going to ask you. If the mothership was parked in your driveway, it was here. We're going to call her she. She was here. What are you going to do? What are you going to do with your last few days?
I would text or I'd send postcards, because being on the road with my family, they're so used to me just like, oh, I'm going away. Bye. Right. Here's a postcard. And then I would be like, all right, where are we going?
Right. Oh my gosh. You're on the mothership. They think you're just staying at a hotel.
The newest offering from the Ritz-Carlton arrives in your driveway and it beams you up into the property. And
be sick.
it's called Mothership by Ritz Carlton.
It's like an autograph hotel, but
It's an autograph hotel. Yeah.
Yes.
No one knows how much that it costs to rent a room in the Mothership because no one's ever come back from the Mothership. But we heard it's like that $1,500 a night mark is probably about right for the Mothership. So yeah.
Yeah. No, I'll send you the article with what they're doing with it's coming.
Yeah. Write up a review. To be honest, follow up the Forbes. Like Forbes was so polished, 100,000, 6 figures, mystery shopper, and just say, I've been invited to mystery shop on the Mothership. Here's 6 things you need to know.
Yeah.
I think just write it up fictitiously and throw it out there. See if it gets picked up now that you're like semi-internet famous. I would just go for it.
And then at the bottom of it, I'll put asterisks. By the way, this was written by ChatGPT.
Yeah, there you go. And then freak everyone out. Yeah. People will be running for the hills after this. They won't even know what they read. They're like, wait a second. I just read a hotel review for the Mothership that was written by AI. Like people are selling all their belongings and they're doing.
And then being like, and you need this. Here is my Amazon link.
Yeah. Well, we got to get a little affiliate dollars before it all goes kaput, you know.
We can't get out of this just no funds. You deserve it. That is so funny. The Mothership, Ritz-Carlton edition. I'd stay. Oh, Stephanie, you're fun. Thank you so much for hopping on here and talking to us today.
Oh, thank you, Connor Ann. Thank you, Kenny. And thanks all to the travel nerds listening out there.
Yes. Do you have anywhere like on your website or anything like that where people can see places that you recommend? Do you do that?
Yeah, so my website, First Rate Hospitality. So we do have a media link in there. So you'll be seeing this on there and all the other areas of publications. But then also too, I'm really heavily on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn of talking the guest experience side, but then also too on the hospitality side of trying to guess where I am because it'll be, I'm on assignment, so I can't really talk about like the client, but you can
so
kind
cool.
of guess where it is.
The Mothership.
She's on the Mothership. Oh my God, I'm loving this. I'm going to write up like a whole thing on the Mothership when we hop up here. That's a great Travel Nerds blog article.
Oh my God.
There are
Yes,
reviews, but no return guests. That'll be the headline.
No.
So funny. Well, have an awesome day and later, nerds.